And we're live. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to January 25th, 2013, this fine Robbie Burns Day. And welcome to you to the, one second here. Welcome you guys to the number 13. Unlucky number 13. We're not superstitious here. 13th Hangout here for the Android Coliseum gang here. Let me do my introductions here. On my first immediate right, I have Sylvain Labouris.
Good evening.
Writer at Android Coliseum. We have myself, Ryan Moore, writer here at Android Coliseum. To my left, you guys are probably seeing us right, is Martin Gay.
Good evening.
Of Android Coliseum. We have Mark Lestuca, a writer at Android Coliseum. And then in the far end, we also have Cass Morrison, writer with Android Coliseum.
Oh, yeah.
Tom sends his regrets. I'm sure he's watching at home, but miss you, Tom. Take it easy tonight. Anyways, so before we get started, just want to say again, thanks to everybody for tuning in. Sorry for the little bit of technical delay. We just had a little bit of difficulties. So we've got some topics to go down, and then what we're going to do after we go through all these topics, we're going to open it up to everybody to come in and have their say. But for the first, 45 to an hour, we'll just have a bit of news to go through and sort of share our points and views. So how can you interact with us until that point? By all means, you can interact with us on our Google Plus page, our Facebook page, our Twitter page, our event page, the YouTube channel, pretty much anywhere. Oh, we even have the Hangout topic. So if you've been on the YouTube page, you'll have seen the agenda file. It's a Google Doc online. We've given that access to anybody to be able to access it, and you can make comments on it. So as you'll see us go through it and actually, put check marks and write and stuff on it. And if you have a comment, just put a comment in. We'll see that. We'll get an email immediately. As well as several of us are all on Google Talk immediately. So if you have anything that you want to interject in some of our points, let us know. We would like to have this conversation with the Android community, because I think that's essentially, we've said it before, why a lot of us are in the Android areas, because it's a really great community of individuals to talk about stuff we're passionate about. So it doesn't really work if it's only one way, us chatting out. We like to have everybody come this way. Okay, so let's dive into our topics this week. So a lot of rumors, a lot of devices coming out right now because of the fact we have Mobile World Congress coming up. So we're hearing some rumored devices. The first one we're coming up to is the Galaxy Note 8. Now, this was initially a quick rumor and then quickly got transformed into an actual, it's happening, here's some pictures device, which is really cool because I'm not a rumors guy. I like to have some, Cass, now Cass is the Galaxy person. She's Galaxy sold. She's had the Tab 2, Note 10, Fascinate, I think it was as well.
Vibrant.
So, Vibrant. So she's been looking at this one. So I'll let her have her say on that. Cass.
Okay, so it sounds like the Note 8 is confirmed for being introduced at Mobile World Congress. I think I was reading on Android Central that they're planning on a pretty quick turnaround between the announcement and availability. Some people seem to think that it's going to have a higher resolution, but if it is a Note, it's going to be hard because of the type of screen they use from the bamboo thing. I tried to find some sales figures for the 7.7 because I wasn't sure just how popular that size is, and it's really hard because it got blocked in the EU pretty early on, and there was nothing, like it wasn't really released here. Did anybody see that in North America at all?
Not from what I saw.
Yeah, so I don't even know what kind of response there is for an 8-inch tablet. Like, it's going to be portrait, so they are sort of building on their phone. Apparently it has the speakers so that it will definitely come in a phone format, which is kind of weird. If you thought a Tab 7 was big against your head, that's going to be even bigger. I think it's good that it's going to be in portrait mode. Like, I use my Tab 10 in portrait mode a lot, but it's not going to be the same kind of experience as you get with the Note 10.1, like when you do multi-screen with the Note 10.1, there's lots of room to see stuff in both sides, whereas I think with an 8, you might not have that. But depending on what you want it for, it will be a little more portable, probably a little lighter, and I'm sure there will be people it will appeal to. So I'm looking forward to seeing it.
It's interesting. Yeah, because I remember in the early days of the tablets, there was all sorts of weird numbers out there for tablets. There was the 7.7. There was the what was that, HTC Jetstream or whatever that thing was. That was like a 5. There's all sorts of weird size. So 8, again, it's not the standard 7 or 10, but it's an interesting take on a little bit larger than the Nexus 7, right? It's not going to be that much larger. And we've seen some of the comparison pictures to the Note 5, Note 5.5, right? So Note 2, I guess you can call it, not instead of Note 5.5. But I think this one's going to be more tablet. It's not going to be the phone. It's not going to have a phone component as far as I understand it. So, but it's interesting because I find the 7 just a little small to use it tablet-wise because I like to have a little more screen space. But I find the 10 too big these days. So maybe an 8 is that perfect number. And like you said, the 7.7 never really got a chance to take off. So Mobile World Congress, I wrote it down. I think it's mid-February, late February.
That's when it usually is, and it's in Madrid.
So that's coming around the corner. So that's a lot of things. And I posted the other day an article just on what some of the specs that were going to come out on it, as well as some of the other devices that we're looking that were possibly going to be leaked at Mobile World Congress, like the Xcover 2, etc. So these a lot of weird things. And I had my little rant about the word Galaxy, and Samsung needs to drop it finally because there's now 56 or something like that iterations of a Galaxy something. Anyway, so that's one of the devices.
I think they've worked too hard with the Galaxy brand to give it up. I mean, either they're going to have to say Galaxy or Samsung. And they said that that's one reason why HTC didn't catch on, because they didn't have one brand name like they do now. With
the One X, the One XS, the One X Plus, SV.
People need that for marketing. Kind of dumb.
Yeah, I guess. And they tried doing that. Remember, they tried saying, okay, well, we're going to have a Galaxy S, R, and Y line. And that I never really saw anything in the R series too much, or the Y series. It was the S. So, anyways, let's move it along. Another thing we heard talked about and became officialized was the Sony tablet. So, Mark, who is our Sony guy through and through, has just recently bought the Xperia tablet. Was it the Tablet S?
It's an Xperia Tablet S, yeah.
Yeah, so he's looking at this Tablet Z going, I should have waited. So, Mark, your take on the Tablet Z.
So, yeah, they announced back in the CES, that was the big one. Sony was kind of the one out of the box, because most of them are saving their announcements for Mobile World Conference. But Sony decided to pull all their stuff out. Actually, they didn't announce the tablet until an NTT Docomo event just recently. And yeah, they showed you they announced the Xperia Tablet Z. It's kind of like the evolution on the Xperia Tablet S, but it has more of the design elements that are more consistent with the Xperia Z. So they're kind of getting their design into one cohesive aspect. The specs on it are quite impressive. It's got a quad-core Qualcomm the S4 Pro, so similar to the Nexus 4s. 2 gigs of RAM, 32 gigs of storage, and it's got a 1920 by 1200 screen. So it's not as nice a resolution as the Nexus 10, or as good as the the Retina display, but it's still a pretty decent resolution on there. It has 8.1 megapixel camera on the back. And it's got NFC, which is interesting. So this is one of these 10-inch tablets with NFC on it. I don't know how much useful that it's going to be for a lot of people with the NFC. I know for phones it's almost a must-have now. But for tablets, I don't know. It's also going to have LTE. There's going to be an LTE variant, so that you can use it over the LTE. The big thing is its size. So it's a 10.1 inch. So the Xperia Tablet S was a 9.4 inch display. This one's a 10.1 inch. So they go kind of with everyone else on that. But it's 6.9 millimeters thick, which is like razor thin compared to some of the other, even it's thinner than the iPad Mini. So it's actually a very thin one. Another big feature that that Sony seems to be going towards now is it's waterproof and dustproof. So you can take it in with you in the bathtub if you want to, read your magazines or whatever in the bathtub, and it should be fine. So I probably wait to see some tests on it before I do it myself. But
there would be a drop test for that one, a drop in the tub test.
Drop in the tub, yeah. It's going to be released in Japan. Don't know about worldwide. There's rumored that it's like they've seen it pop up on, I think, Brazil or something. So there's rumor that it may be worldwide released, but there's nothing confirmed yet. So have to wait and see whether we can get it in Canada or not. But yeah, it looks like it's a pretty impressive piece of hardware, and they are definitely working towards making a cohesive design element. I mean, it's very minimalistic, very straightforward. For me, I liked the magazine-ish foldage feel, but I mean, and I like the smaller size. I was able to use it better with my hands, but the 10 inches seems to be where a lot of people are going towards. Oh yeah, and it's also going to be with Jelly Bean 4.1.2. It's going to come with it. So
cool.
That's the skinny on it.
Skinny it is, because thin is in, right? That's the thing on this guy.
Thin is in, yeah.
So this is a break for them, because like we talked about design, all the tablets up to that had that little book and
except for the
I don't know what you would call it, like a clip. Had that clip thingy right at the back end, which is kind of nice to sort of, when you're holding it, you can actually clip it to something, and if you wanted to,
well, see,
give you a little more to grip on.
See, what it does, right, is it adds kind of an extra weight to just one side. So it shifts the center of gravity towards, it shifts center of gravity towards one side. So when you hold it with one hand, it's not that bad. With a flat, large tablet, it shifts the center of gravity further away, and so it ends up feeling heavier, even though it's maybe not as heavy. It feels heavier, so.
But like, can you use it to actually, like, if you were to stand it up on something, could you clip it onto something? Like,
yeah, like I have this case.
A clothesline.
It had to be pretty thin. I have the one case that came with it, and the case kind of slips in. I don't know how well you can see this, but the case kind of slips in, and it does lock. There's a locking, so it does kind of clip in, and so that does kind of hold it. It does hold it up and straight. So.
Okay.
My
so
one
that'll be
worry is they're
interesting
going
to see what this one is.
My one worry is they're going to stop selling accessories for the Xperia Tablet S.
You got accessories?
Well, the case, right? So I mean, but I wanted to get the dock and everything because as part of the warranty they sent me $60 in Sony store credit, so I can buy $60, but it's
nice.
It's only good for the U.S. store. So
your next trip down to the States, you got to go down. So
Yeah,
that's cool. So
basically.
that's Tablet Z. I'm going to skip a little point here and go straight to the other rumor we heard about a device was the Galaxy S4. And if you read my article this past week, I had my little rant about rumors and how I'm not a big fan of rumors. But there's just no stopping the slide of this for the Galaxy S4. And despite how much I really hate, calling things S1, S2, S3, S4, the S4. They've kind of announced it. It's kind of going to be it. But on paper, it looks like a pretty good device. And if you've seen the sample shots of it, the leaked examples, there's no button, which I really like. I mean, there's no hardware button. It's all the soft touch buttons. Still not the software buttons like you get on the Nexus. But it doesn't look too bad. I mean, like an octa-core phone. I got a quad-core phone, and it's pretty smoking fast. So to go to an octa-core, that's going to be pretty cool. Now, it's not going to make it for Mobile World Congress. The past one, the S3, was launched at its own Unpacked event, and the one before that, the S2, was launched at the Mobile World Congress, and then before that, I can't remember, CTIA, I think it was launched at. So I think they've really grown to a point where they don't need to tie this launch of this next anticipated device at some other event. They're going to launch their own event. So that's probably looking at April or May of when they're going to probably launch that out. So who knows? It's some pretty impressive specs. Will be a beast of a phone for sure. but it's going to have TouchWiz on it. And so unless they do some major changes to TouchWiz, I'm like willing to wait and see what's going to happen. I'm one of those guys. Tell me all the rumors you want. I'm going to wait till I see it on paper and see it somebody hold up on a speaking screen and say, this is the new device. Okay, so let's go on to some other more device news. Nexus 4. Those who have one, hold it up. Yay. Nexus 4. Mark's got 2. You've just got a Nexus, Sylvain. You put yours
I know.
Yes, I have 2. Everyone's going to kill me for that.
Right, well, he's got a warranty issue. He's got to send one back, so don't kill him on that. But here's the thing. So in Canada, if we wanted the Nexus 4, we've only had 2 shots at this. We've had one back in November, then back in December. If you wanted one, you had to hover around that F5 key and just sit there and hammer that button until you got it, if you were lucky enough. So there wasn't that many. We tried making a community on Google Plus for Canadian Nexus 4 owners, and I think we got like 20 people joining that community. I mean, that's a community. There's a lot to say, but I mean, it's probably not that as many as we would like to think. We've been hearing lots of stuff about how the demand has been, was so lowly anticipated, but it sounds like they're fixing that. And if you listen to the speech by Larry Page on their earnings quarter, I was talking about they're fixing that inventory. So it started off with rumors in Australia that this retail store in Australia was going to carry it. Now it looks like Videotron has announced they're going to carry it, and Fido is going to carry it in Canada. So it looks like we're going to be able to go to a store and buy it. Now, can we buy it off the shelf if we're not a Videotron or Fido customer? Yeah, I'm not sure. Who knows? We hope so. What's the price of it going to be? Well, T-Mobile, it was going for about $550, so there's going to be a premium because you're getting it at a regular sort of supply chain. But the opportunity to actually get it might be kind of important. So that's kind of cool. My concern was, were they going to bastardize the version, i.e. change the build so that it wouldn't get the same updates that the Play Store lines were getting, like the Galaxy Nexus and the Nexus S were getting. And Martin, you were saying that you knew somebody at Videotron who sounds like the rumor is it's going to stay the same.
The rumor is still that it's going to stay Virgin. It's going to be plain old Android on it, no changes. But then again, we won't see the actual device until it comes out at the end of the month.
Yeah. Cass, you had a comment on the Nexus 4?
No, I had a comment on the S4. You keep saying that about TouchWiz.
Oh.
Yeah, we were talking about that at work today, actually. Somebody came and asked me, I was sitting in my office, and somebody said, what would you get for a new phone? And there was another gal there, and she said, hands down the S3. I would not get anything other than a Samsung device. The skin makes it easy for everybody to use, and you don't have to ever download anything if you don't want to. So while people, like power users, might not like the skin, it really does make it accessible.
No, I'll concede that point. I know, I concede that point. I gotta remember, I'm not a dude. I gotta stop being the hipster douche on the Android world, because I think about in the last couple months, the people who have converted to Android. I say I've converted, but they switched over themselves. Have gotten S3, Note 2, Note 2 device, so they've gone this TouchWiz route, and they don't really care what it can or can't do beyond that. They're happy with what it does. And I mean that's an article I've been thinking about writing about. We've been seeing that article. I'm going to go a little off topic here. Article talking about is Android just for the poor or just for the simple kind of thing. You know what? And I think the biggest thing is Android can be whatever you want it to be. And if I really like the Note 2, like Martin, you have one. I really like the Note 2, but I don't like TouchWiz. Well, I don't have to stick on TouchWiz. Yeah, so Android can be what we want it to be. So now the other thing we did this week is we put on a little poll on the website to ask you guys what is your social media of choice. We did this because as a new blog starting out, we're trying to make sure we monitor our social media streams and where we are and what we're doing and how we're monitoring it. And we tend to have a pretty good bias towards Google Plus, but we want to make sure we're doing this where you guys are at as well. And then Tom was just talking about why he hates Facebook and why it's should be abolished off the face of the planet. So I thought, well, why not ask you guys, what is your opinion on what is the social media of choice for you? And an interesting topic thus far. Obviously going to be very slightly skewed to a certain area, and I guess you all can guess. What do you guys think is the number one answer?
Facebook.
Twitter.
Google Plus.
I mean,
That's what you were looking for, wasn't it, Ryan?
I mean, Google
Which
Plus
one is it?
It's Google Plus right now. And right now, to be honest with you, and I'm trying. I'm not trying, but I mean, like, I've been making sure I try to make some sort of comment on Twitter here or there. We don't have a lot of followers on Twitter, so I'm trying to make my own. I don't have a lot of followers myself. So right now we have almost 6-1 for Google Plus to Facebook, and that's the only two people who are answering so far: Facebook or Google Plus. 85% on Google Plus, 15 and a bit percent. The numbers are for Facebook. So obviously, I think all of us here we're kind of Google Plus sold. So, but that means Facebook's not dead. But again, if you guys are out there and you're listening to us on Twitter or you're watching us, listening for us on any other sort of device, let us know. We make sure that we're listening to you there. I mean, tell us where we want to have the conversation. Okay, so let's move along. Last thing, I just wanted to bring up a topic we just heard a lot about today. Was the fact that the new law coming into place in the States where they're saying it's going to be illegal for you to unlock your phone. So what does it mean to unlock your phone? Basically, it's when I go to the Bell store and I buy a phone from Bell, it's made to work only with the Bell network. If I decide to pick my phone and leave, it's only going to work on Bell. I can't take that phone to Rogers. If I wanted to do that, there's a way you call unlocking. You basically tell it to work with another SIM card. And that was called unlocking, not bootloader unlocking or rooting, just SIM unlocking. So making sure it can work on it. Now in the States, there was some control issue, and I can't remember how this is actually coming into play, but it's going to be illegal for you to do that without the permission of the carrier. Canada, we don't have that. And actually, there's been a couple acts that some MPs have been trying to push forward, and I'm trying to get an MP in my riding who's actually put forward a bill last year about that, about making it mandatory that a carrier shouldn't lock you in, and it shouldn't be a hassle for you to change. You should be able to keep your numbers as easily as possible. You should own your number like you own your address or whatever. So, Mark, you had a quick comment on that, or?
Yeah, I read about this, and the comment thread was full of people going, "Oh, this is the end of the world. This is the government's killing us, and the corporations are blah blah blah." And I look at it, and I don't have as much of a problem with it, because the kicker is if you're out of contract, if you bought your phone, then you can unlock it. It's not illegal for that. If you're on contract, then you're locked in, obviously. Of course, I'm always a big advocate of buying a phone unlocked or getting it unlocked or something, because I think you should have the freedom. You should own it. But when you are on contract, the company does sort of own part of your phone, right? It's like if you lease a car. So until you own it outright, it's hard for you to say you can do everything with it, anything you want with it.
I agree.
But then to the extent of rooting. So if I'm still in contract, so I've been subsidized, right? So I have that subsidized portion that they technically, I guess you could say, own. But should that also not extend to being able to root it? So if I want to root it, because I could technically do more damage to my phone, or software piracy or whatever you want to call it, by rooting the phone versus just unlocking it for a carrier. So I mean, it's weird that's where they draw the line, is unlocking it for the SIM versus rooting the software.
But rooting is known to void the warranty. Like everybody knows, you root, you void the warranty. So that takes it a step further than your carrier won't like you.
Like, does it void your warranty to unlock your phone? I'm not really sure if
No.
that's.
No, I don't think so.
Rooted.
No.
I
And
just think
especially
if you want to do whatever you want with your phone, then you should just buy it outright, basically, right? Or pay out of the contract. So.
But that's the thing. But the idea though is in the States, it doesn't matter about buying it on contract or not. It's technically still illegal to hit that unlock. Like, if you have a Galaxy Note 2 on 4.1.2 or 4.1.1, there is a quick little fix to make it unlocked without rooting it or anything. Super easy to do.
I don't think that's right, though. I think if you own it outright, then you can unlock it. It's only if you're on contract, right?
See, that's the thing. It's just so ambiguous. Anyways, I didn't want to get too hung up on it. It's just an interesting topic, and I know, but here in Canada, we don't want to worry about it. So don't worry about it. Fear, uncertainty, and doubt. Canada, we're okay.
Yeah, right? For now. You know how we follow the U.S. all the time.
But you know what? I think though, but we've made some strides in the front that it should be easier for a carrier to unlock our devices for us. Like there have been strides in that, and it's been easier for us to port numbers between us in the past while. So I think we're moving forward in that sense to make it easier. So who knows? I don't know. Coming out, buy a Nexus device and you never have to worry about it. That's all I can say. Anyways, let's move along. Let's go on to the review section of our week. This past week I did my review on the glider gloves. Great little gloves. They're really cool. I can now play ingress when I go for my walks outside. I made a comment that they're pretty cold still, but you know, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday in Thunder Bay we hit like minus 46 with the wind chill. So it doesn't matter what gloves I was using, it was going to be cold. Today we hit a balmy minus 15 degrees Celsius, and I went out in my sweatshirt and my glider gloves, and I was warm and toasty, and found 2 new portals, and I was all happy. So glider gloves, great. Check out the review. There's some on sale on the website, so I would say if you live in Canada, you need to have some sort of gloves when you're with your phone. So if you want to take a look at glider gloves, check them out. Mark, with his 2 Nexus 4s, recently put on a new little accessory. Mark, you there? Mark, you're muted. Mark's muted.
Sorry. So I obviously have the 2 Nexus, so I can do a pretty good comparison here. On here this is just a regular Nexus with the regular screen, and then here I put on the other screen, so you can hardly tell the difference between the 2. It's a little skin. It's from Best Skin Ever. So if you can see, it's what it does is it basically adds a rubbery kind of. It adds like a rubbery kind of skin on the back of it, and it works pretty good. Like I've already tried it on to compare, and I'll use this one as an example. So here's the original. Here's the Nexus 4 without it. So as you can see, it moves around really smooth. And I've had problems where it falls all the time. On here, with it on there, it's much stickier now. So that adds already extra protection so it doesn't fall off the table. Also, it's hardly invisible, so you get that really pretty back, and it protects you from all the scratches and everything that you might get. Like I got on the back of the other one. That's why partly the reason why I'm returning is because of that. But it looks great. It feels a lot stickier. I had it for the Nexus S for a while, and I always get them now for all my phones just because it adds that extra protection without really affecting the look on it. And it's very thin too, so you can usually put, unless they're really tight skin or cases, you can put a case on.
Cool. So that's what was the name of it again? Sorry.
It's called Best Skins Ever.
Best Skins Ever. So we'll do is we'll put a link on there on the site if we can get that link for us, Mark. At some point, we'll put that on our site. The other thing I got. And if you guys had followed me way back when at Android in Canada, I did an article on Xperia NFC tags. I got a package sent to me by Tag Stand today. Some starter tags, little sticker tags, and it was really cool. I got to play with it because I've never really bought into using tags so much. But I think with the stickers, I might be definitely a little more easy to try this out. I'm really looking forward to putting this around my office. You know, you want to check us out on Foursquare, check in on Facebook or whatever. That'd be cool to play around with. So if you guys have suggestions, let me know, because what I've been using that Tag Stand Tasker program, and it's a really great tasking program. I'm looking to do Tasker as well. So if you guys have suggestions on how you'd want to see these used, or how you have no idea how they could be used, but you think you might have an idea, let us know. I'll be looking at doing an article this week on how that goes out. So got some cool stuff, and because I got so many of them, I might have that as a giveaway coming up next week. So again, watch the blog for us, because we have some giveaways here and there. Okay, so let's move it along here, and we were going to have a showdown, a real Coliseum per se, showdown of CyanogenMod versus AOKP. Tom has been a CyanogenMod fan, loves to rock that device. I think, Martin, you're running CyanogenMod yourself?
Not currently. I'm actually running Jedi X9 right now.
Okay. We should do something like this. Just what ROMs you're running, because I've had a couple people recommend new ones for the N4. And then Sylvain, you were using CyanogenMod yourself until
For a while, yes.
Some of the nightlies were running into problems. So he's moved over to AOKP.
Yes.
So it'd be neat to sort of see who's running with different ROMs. And, but since Tom's not here to give his sort of back and forth throwdown on it, we'll wait till next week until Tom's here, and we can have that fight. Mark, get a quick comment on that, or?
Yeah, what there's been a lot of talk on lately is Paranoid Android. Have you seen that one? They've got an extra feature in there that gives you the extended desktop and allows you to have the controls like draggable from the edges. So
Ubuntu-ish, right? Gesture-based, right?
Yeah. So if I was willing to root, then I would give that one a try, but for next week or something.
I've been debating about it. I have Android Authority did a hangout yesterday. I think it was yesterday, and they had a big thing about Paranoid Android, and it was like, the fact I'm a Douglas Adams fan, Marvin, the Paranoid Android, I'd have a soft spot in my heart for that. Try it out. So but I'm not one of those guys that, especially on something that's a new, I'm not sure if I would want to jump in on the first couple nightlies. I would sort of wait till the first, stable build comes out, and then I can go on nightlies from then on.
Well, Cyanogen and AOKP have that feature, and I use it with a Nova Launcher.
And it removes the bottom bar entirely, eh?
Yes.
And it just brings that little pie up or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, I'll put that. I have to get out and try a new ROM one of these days.
We'll talk about it next week.
We'll talk next week, for sure. Okay, so let's move on to the updates this past week. Last week we talked a lot about some of the weather apps that we had used, and one of the contenders out there was OneWeather. And Mark missed out on that last week to talk about it, but we saw this week was a great update for OneWeather, that so much so that I know I put it on. Mark, you use it more often than I do.
So
Did you see the update?
So yeah, I did. I had OneWeather maybe like last year. I was using it, and I really liked it. But the problem is, I never had an interface for my tablets because I always felt they were left out. They only had it for the phones. So part of the update was they brought OneWeather support for tablets, which is very nice. And they did a whole they redid the app so that it actually runs smooth, because it used to be a little bit like jittery on the Nexus S, but now they've cleaned it up, so now it runs. Although I've only been able to give it a try on the Nexus 4, but so it runs really smooth. But I've put it on my other tablets too. The one problem I have with it is it uses the landscape for tablets, but they haven't quite followed the Android design guides. And for the Nexus 7, it does the whole tablet portrait mode or landscape mode. So if you want to use it, if you open it up on the Nexus 7, it rotates your screen into landscape mode, and then you're forced to use it that way. Which I'd like to use it in portrait, because that's I use it that way. But they definitely they did a good job updating it. In spite of that, they did a good job updating it, and it has a few extra widgets on here. But I still like their their default widget. It's what I like about it is it's a nice carbon cancel. It's a nice clean one. It looks really pretty. And then you open it up. What I really like is they actually these graphs are just really done well. They're thought of really well. I like their little. Oh, that wrong direction. I like their little bucket effects where they fill it with water to show you what the percent precipitation is going to be. Like it's really well polished.
Is it
really
black and
nice
white, Mark?
Sorry?
Is it black and white?
No, it's colored.
Okay.
It used to be black and white.
Mm.
I don't know if you can see very well. I don't get severe.
Here, I can bring up a
here.
screen share if anyone wants to take a
Yeah,
look at this here.
maybe you can do better.
To give you guys an idea what it looks like. Here's mine. Oops.
It went away.
Yeah, because I had full screen on it. Sorry.
Sorry if the weather's making you guys jealous.
So
I'll be there
mine's not
next
doing
week.
too bad. I got
It's a
mine at
risky
12.
6 degrees, so.
6 degrees. Holy hell. So nice little animations. It's a very clean background.
Yeah,
Very
it's
nice.
much,
cool
it's much
little
smoother
look.
than there, just because it's the frame rate, but it's
Yeah.
very smooth.
There's the bucket things they get. I don't know if you can see, but they slowly fill up to say what the percentage are. It's very cool. I like to use it as I don't know how this will work this way, but if I turn off my screen and I bring it back up, you guys can get that my little lock screen. That's my lock screen widget right now for Nexus 4. So it's kind of nice to have that. So
I wish I had the
Pretty
larger
cool
one
stuff.
for the lock screen, though. Just because it makes
yeah, there should be some. I have a whole issue with the lock screen personally. I don't know why they don't have more, or you can't do more than one-on-one lock screen.
Yeah.
Anyways, so that was one weather. The other thing we heard the other day was Tasker updated to some really fancy new Holo-ish, because Tasker was as very powerful as it was before. Tended to be pretty much a nerd's paradise. You had to know everything in and out and not be afraid of buttons to press and menu options. Tasker new feature that looks very much cleaner. And I'm hoping to play around with Tasker this week as I get to learn around and play with NFC, because I really want to tag those two together, because TagStand's app lets you integrate with Tasker, so making it 10 times more powerful. So they upgraded the new UI and make it look really good. Back to Mark. Mark's we talked before about Carbon as basically an opposite to Titanium backup. Had an update this past week, and Mark, I'll let you talk about that.
Yeah. So yeah, now that so the one everyone knows that's been going around is that Carbon app that's been talked about, the backup app. It's finally released. Kush has finally released a non-root version or desktop beta. So I've been giving that a try. I haven't had much chance to play with it, but I have done one test where I did an Angry Birds test. Basically, I started a game. So I wonder if I can show you here. So it's loading right now. But I can show you as I have some saved games on here. So I got some progress on here, as you can see. I haven't gotten very far, but I gotten some few levels on here. So what I'll do is I will just quickly get rid of all those saved games. So I'll go into apps. I'll do it the quicker way here.
Clear data.
So I'll just clear data so that I get rid of all those saved games. And I've already backed up to the. I've set up already a few games. I haven't tried with every app just because it's that would have been too far. So now you can see they're all locked. So I'm back at the beginning again. So now I go into Carbon. Carbon. There you are. So I go into Carbon and I can restore from Google Drive. I've put it on my Google Drive for now. Loading.
This is the wonders of the internet.
It's thinking. It's trying to get the data right now. There we go. Okay, so I got all my data here. So I'm going to select Angry Birds and then restore. Then it's going to go and it's going to do this, and then your restore is complete. Okay. So then if I go back into Angry Birds,
My kid is gonna love watching this video because he just loves Angry Birds Star Wars.
and we're back to my level 6 on there. I think it's level 6 done on there. So it was able to restore it fine for that. I haven't tried it with every single app, obviously, yet. I'm going to be trying it with the new phone because I'm going to have to switch all my save data to there. But from that, it actually works pretty well. The client it's a bit funky how it works. Sometimes it works. Sometimes you have to restart the desktop client. Sometimes you don't. But it works not bad. The one catch to it is if you restart your phone, you have to reconnect to the desktop app to get it to work. Just because what happens is when it connects to it, I guess it runs like an ADB script, and it keeps it running on your phone so that it can access all the app data. And then once it's once your phone resets, it cancels that application that's running, and you have to restart it again. So that's the one caveat. But I mean, to get app backup like that on a rootless phone without unless Google did it themselves, which they should do, you're going to have to accept some limitations.
Yeah, and I think it's the coolest thing is the fact that there's a lot of people out there who are not going to root their device, but let's say an accident happens and they drop their Note 2, like a friend of mine did, and they break it, and they need to get a new one. They're going to lose those games and text messages, and there's other apps out there, but this is nice and super easy to do. I mean, you can't do it if you know what you're doing with ADB, but this is nice that it does it automatically for you. So pretty cool stuff to come out. So I'm going to skip a couple items here and just go straight to Martin. Martin's a titanium backup guy, just like Sylvain. And you said there's some updates for titanium backup.
Yeah, definitely. Titanium Backup 6 actually got fully released earlier today, and they've actually did a good job about the redesign of the UI and a lot of performance enhancement to it. It's actually running faster. The actual UI is more user-friendly than what it used to be before. They've actually fixed a couple of crashes I reported to them, and it's actually working more now, better than what it used to be. And I've actually had no issues actually trying to sync to my Dropbox like I was doing earlier. I was able to sync about like 250 megs in about approximately 15 minutes versus not syncing at all, and it could take the entire night. They've also added the actually fix for the app2sd. There was some problems with it, but they've actually fixed that part too. And they've refixed their filters for the screen bug, so that's working better too. And overall, it's just a better improvement of what they had prior.
Sylvain, you've been using it. Have you seen much on 6? Much better? Or?
Just a little bit before the Hangout. I've seen they redesigned the menu, but that's about it. I didn't try nothing yet.
You haven't had to back up anything in a while, so okay. So that's some other updates we've seen. Skype updated for tablets on landscape mode. Chrome Beta updated for the 4th time. This time, the coolest feature is the fact you can now have the Chrome flags, so you can go in and switch off flags on or off. I think Sylvain said it best earlier was, I don't know what they do, but it's great to be able to have that option. Like, I know I have some issues on Chrome. I'm on a dev channel on my computer, and on Chrome in the dev channel, there's some issues on Google+, so I have to go into the Chrome flags and turn off GPU enable. So being able to make sure that, hey, if there is a setting I want to tweak to make sure it runs as smooth as I can do that. And that's what I love about the Chrome Beta. So that's really cool. Mark, we was talking about there's a brand new keyboard out there, Kii, K-I-I. And it's just something we were thinking about talking about is different keyboards out there. So Mark, give us your quick little review of Kiis.
So this is going to be kind of a preliminary review just because it's still in beta. But it's a new keyboard that's, I guess, trying to compete with SwiftKey and the stock one, and I can tell you it does a pretty good job of competing. It's got swipe capabilities like all the other gesture capabilities. It's got predictive text messaging like all the rest of them. It's got multiple themes that you can install and do development for. It's quite well suited. It's got multiple. It has more languages, I think, than SwiftKey has. Because that was one of the things is I wanted to have the Japanese keyboard, but they didn't have that, and they hadn't been looking at developing it for a while. But now it comes. This one comes with it. So it has all of that in there. I mean, it's basically got everything all the other ones have in there. It's got multiple layouts, so you can have a layout for it. You can have the tablets. You can have a split layout like you want. And because it's still in beta, you get all the features that all the premium features for free right now, just because they want to work on development. So I've already given my comments like I want a quick toggle between split keyboard and a regular keyboard on a tablet landscape, just because all the other ones have that, and it's a really nice feature to be able to switch. If you're typing with your two thumbs versus typing the keyboard like that, you want to be able to switch between them. It's got a lot of customizability, a lot of different options to change the key sizes. You can even pick different fonts too. So if you like Roboto font or for something, you can look through the entire all your phone apps. It can scan and find font types that are built into there, and it can use those as your keyboard font. It can change the coloring of the keys. It can change the coloring of the lettering. It's got so much different variety in there that it's crazy. I think like we'll see how it comes, but I may use this one as my go-to keyboard for now. I'll keep using it just to see how it comes in the next week or so, but it's definitely a pretty impressive one.
I'll have to go check it out. I mean, I'm pretty die-hard on my SwiftKey flow. I'm pretty, but I like to see devs, and maybe that's something we could take a look at next week. We can start doing an app coliseum on who's using what keyboard. So maybe you guys think about that. And Mark, I would like to say a review on that this week if we can get your thoughts and a little more after a week's use of it, kind of thing.
One thing just to follow up is if you're interested in trying new keyboards, now is a chance to try it because it's a premium keyboard, but it's free right now because it's in beta. So now is a chance to really try it before they close it off.
And you might have to pay for it. So
yes.
Keeping with the theme of Robbie Burns, you cheap Scots out there, that's if you want to get it free, get it now, right? So
yeah. Okay.
So let's move it along. And then Cass just posted this one up on the agenda, and I heard about this a while ago, and I'm looking at it now, and I'm quite intrigued. SF Launcher.
Okay, so I'm going to one-up Mark. This is an alpha build. So it is really rough. But I really like some of the features. I'm not going to skip to it right now. I am positive. But I hope that's showing up. This is what it looks like. So it's got the Google Now look to it, and then in the top, in the sort of middle square, you have your swipeable widgets, and then on the bottom you have your favorites. You swipe over and you have your entire app drawer available to you. And if you want to add something, say I want to add Get Glue to that other page, I just long tap on it and hit favorite, and now it's on the bottom of that page.
Sweet.
Yeah, so it's pretty cool. You have a choice of the Google Now default and San Francisco and London as your options, and then when you tap that top part, you get your Google Now stuff. Your Google Now cards. I would say that I would want to wait quite a while before I actually use this as my main launcher. It's supposed to track daytime, but it doesn't really do it automatically. It doesn't pick up my location like Google Now does. And I think it would take a while for me to get used to that widget thing, but it's an interesting idea. It's very different than any of the other launchers that I've seen and it does have a really good combination of using widgets and using just shortcuts to your applications.
Yeah. I like that idea of one screen, but different areas would change. That's kind of cool. A cool little feature.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing, like when you set it up, you want to set up. I did my app. Everybody's on here. Then there's a little article about where I put different things on different screens. This screen is my social media page. This screen is my. Well, I like being able to say, well, this is my panel for this. This is panel. I can just change like a little totem pole thing. That's kind of cool. Thanks for sharing that. So I'm going to put a link up through the thing.
Is that you can have just one page, but it doesn't have the phone stuff on the bottom. So if you want to phone people, I guess you have to put the shortcuts on your favorite page because it doesn't have that banner yet.
That would help.
Yeah, but it is an alpha build, but it is kind of nice to have just one screen, not flip through a whole bunch of screens.
Agreed.
So I'm really interested to see how it pans out.
Cool. That's pretty cool stuff. Okay, so last but not least, we come down to our App Coliseum, which we've kind of done a little bit of this App Coliseum thing right now. Each is showing some cool new toys and new features, whatever. Before we do into that, I'm just going to do my quick little Ingress invite giveaway. And speaking of giveaways, because Tom isn't here, he's not here to talk about his accessory Nexus 4 accessory giveaway. But look on the blog. He's going to be posting very shortly on what it is he's giving away and what you got to do to get it. So for those of you, again, lucky enough to grab an Nexus 4, like Mark, who's got 2 right now, he's got a couple of goodies to give away. I think it's a case. So if you're looking for a case, watch the blog, androidcoliseum.com, if I haven't said it before. Last week, we also gave away 3 invites for Ingress, and I had people do 3 things. You had to write a post, whether it be Twitter, Facebook, Google+, tag us in your post, say a secret word, which we came up with was turnpike, and then suggest a poll topic. I think this week I'm going to say you're going to have to do the same thing. You're going to have to write a post tagging Android Coliseum in either Google+, Facebook, or Twitter. You're going to have to say it's the secret word, and I think this word for the week, we'll say non-root. Right? We talked about Carbon, the new desktop access for non-root. So if you have to say the word non-root somewhere, so say I am non-rooted, that'll count, or I am non-rooted, that'll count, and then come up with tell us what keyboard are you using right now, or tell us what launcher are you using right now. So either of those 2 things. Tell me. Give us our name so we could tag it so I could see that you've actually posted that. Give us the secret word, non-root, and tell us what keyboard or what launcher you're using on your phone, whether it be the standard TouchWiz, or are you trying out Apex Launcher, Novo Launcher, SF Launcher, there's a bunch out there, Go Launcher. Try it. Let us know. So that's for the Ingress invite giveaway. I've got 3 of those to give out, so let me know, guys. And on to the App Coliseum, we have Sylvain. We've decided this week we're going to do it a little differently to show off Sylvain's arsenal in the Coliseum here, his top 3 apps. So I'll just turn over to Sylvain.
Yes, so my top 3 apps, the way I chose them is which are the first apps I always make sure go back on my phone after I flash the ROM. So you see there on the top, Total Commander. That's replacing a file manager that usually comes with AOKP or Cyanogen. So it's pretty good. I've been with them for years on my PC, and I think just last year, a few months ago, they finally released it on the Google Play Store. So of course, on the first day I was there, downloaded it. It's free. It works really good, and just like the PC version, you have the 2 screens, so on the left and the right. I will try to just scroll slowly. So it makes it easy. Same for the PC to copy or move your files. So let's say I go on my SD card here. and then I always have a bin folder. Then I can just select a few folders. I would delete or copy or move them, and it does it on the other side. So it makes it easy. I think I prefer doing that than cut. Then you move up and down in your folders and just paste. I find it easier. There's a few things that are interesting on there. You can add a few, you see at the bottom there, FTP file transfers and on the LAN. So those are two plugins you can install. FTP, I don't have one right now, but I use FTP lots. And at home I have a home server. So I could go on LAN and transfer files from my other computer to my phone. So that's pretty good. You can go into your pictures. It's pretty good. So that's it for the Total Commander. By the way, it's a free app, so there's no pro version or anything. It's just free. Second app is Aldico Sync. And that's a sync app for the reader Aldico Premium that I use. So let's say I would just sync my books, and it does it on Dropbox. So it saves the end of where you're at, your position in the book. And when I'm ready, I press on Launch Aldico, and it launches the app. Right now, there's only one book. I've been reading that book for months. I read not enough, but I mean, it's always available. There's a few good, so let's say I push the book at the bottom. Now it's sideways, or not. It's sideways on my phone, but not on the screen. So yeah, you just go, you swipe from the right to the left, and it swipes like this. You can go up and down with the brightness when you swipe up and down on the left. Not sure it's going to show that. Yeah, it doesn't work on the screen, the screenshot. So now I just go back. There's a shelf view that I don't use, but it's kind of nice. If I had more than one book, I could see them all on the shelves. You can buy books. I never bought a book on that one using the app, since I'm always reading the same book anyway. So the interesting thing is that I can just go back now and exit out of it. It goes back into sync, and I can sync the last position of my book again. When I'm done doing that, I just press back again, and I'm back to my home screen. Third but not last, I'm not sure how to pronounce it. I think it's the guy's a French developer, so C'est simple. There's probably a way of pronouncing it in English. So you see there's three widgets at the bottom. So those are the three numbers I have. I have my Fungo on the left, and freephone-line.ca for my Montreal number and my Edmonton number. So let's say I want to activate one. And I could activate the Fungo one too. I now go into program. And okay, what number do I want to use to call? I can use my mobile, my Fungo, or my Edmonton number. So let's say I use this one. You're now switched. And I could call 911, which I won't do. But that's pretty cool, because you can just switch, okay, whatever phone you want to use, and at the same time you can receive calls through the app when people call those numbers.
Sweet.
Yeah. There's, I think on Fungo you can pay an extra fee to have text messages, but it's already included on my Kudos plan, so I don't use that option. You can have your favorites, and you see favorites, it separates between your different numbers, and you have your call history. Of course, I deleted it before before showing this off. So yeah, pretty good. You have many settings, but you know what? I just go in easy configuration. You can choose there always available. So whenever you have the number activated, which I did on my widget, it's going to be available. Or you can just go on Wi-Fi. So if you don't want to use your data connection, You just put it on Wi-Fi, and you're never going to use your data for that. So yeah, that's about it for the apps. Those are my 3 apps that I use all the time. And you can see my wallpaper. I'm sure you can guess what ROM I'm running. So back to you, Ryan.
All right, cool. So that's kind of a cool topic. We kind of thought just sort of try to figure out what are your top 3 apps, and that's one of the ideas we've had with the App Coliseum is we really want to showcase to people some new apps that maybe you're not using. And the idea is there's a couple 100,000 or whatever apps in the App Store, so there's 1,000,001 different ways to splice your Android device, so to do it differently than everybody else. So if there's something that we're missing, let us know. We're just kind of showing you what we do. And so again, the idea is if you like those ones that Sylvain showed today, tell us why you like them. If you think that there's something different, or instead of CSIP you should be using something else, let us know. And again, maybe it might be better than that. But the idea is here, let's share our knowledge of this Android community so we can all talk about it. So I think maybe not next week, maybe we'll see. Next week we'll have another person on the team here to share our top 3. Maybe you guys could share your top 3 with us and tell us what it is. I'm pretty OCD here. I'm not sure I could actually give you an answer. I'd have to come up with a chart and a way to scale and mark and weight the grades I would give each app to come up with a top 3, and it would take me 3 weeks to do that.
Really?
But I'd have no way to assess that. I'd have to come up with a system. The engineer comes out and me that I'd have to come up with a way to go, okay, well, how would I evaluate that? Is it a top one of my personal preference and functionality? Anyways, the nerd comes out when I talk like that. But so anyway, so there's Sylvain's top 3 apps. I put them in our Google Plus page. So if you look up our App Coliseum search, so if you go into the agenda topic, you'll see that the word App Coliseum is a link. Click it, it'll bring you to Google search, and it'll show you all the App Coliseum tags out there that we've done or anybody else has thrown their hat on. And with that, that comes to the end of our Hangout this week. We're just about the hour mark. So I appreciate you guys for sticking around with us and talking Android. What we're going to do is turn off the on-air portion and then open up the Hangout. So if anybody has any topic they would want to talk about, or they want to rehash a topic we've talked about, let us know, and we'll be here and celebrating Robbie Burns Day in style. So I know Mark said he's got a jet, but I'll be here for a little bit. Sylvain will be here for a bit. So Martin, you can be here for a little bit.
Yep.
Cass can hang around. You're gonna watch movies.
Yep.
We can talk about some. We can talk about some movies. We can talk about whatever we want. So we will post that link very shortly. But until then, take care, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to follow us on AndroidColiseum.com for our blog. Subscribe to the RSS feed. Follow us on Google+. Follow us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter. Follow us on the YouTube account. Whatever it may be that falls. I mean, in Google+, we're on the community. We're in a couple different areas. So, by all means, take care, guys, with your Androids, and we'll see you next week.
All right, see ya.